Hi, what's up? I'm Channel Pup, the mascot for the level-headed fanboy. Now, you wanted it, you got it. We've ranked all of the Miles Morales Spider-Man suits in Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 5. Today, we're going to be ranking all of the Peter suits in Spider-Man 2 on the PS5. And the same general rules apply here. This list is influenced greatly by how well these suits fit this version of Spider-Man, how well they fit the overall aesthetic in the game, whether or not Insomniac has done an amazing job with adapting these costumes into the game. So yeah, there are going to be placements on this list that will contradict things like the Spider-Man film suit ranking. There's been times when I've said, you know, a certain Spider-Man suit is my all-time favorite Spider-Man design, yet it's lower down on this list. It's more based around whether or not it fits in this world, whether or not it fits this version of the character, or just how good of a job Insomniac have done with translating it. So hopefully that'll put all records straight, I guess. As always, if you enjoy this kind of stuff, be sure to click subscribe because there's a ton of videos just like this one, all about different Spider-Man media. I've done a 9-hour Spider-Man retrospective. I think it's the front page thing on my channel. So if you're a Spider-Man fan, you won't be disappointed by the content on this channel. But I do other stuff too. I'm not specifically a Spider-Man channel as such. It's probably the main thing I do. But anyways, you get the point. So coming in on the rocky bottom of this list at number 34 is the Life Story suit. Now, I do understand that this is from the Spider-Man Life Story comic book, but it's not a comic that I have read myself. So this doesn't really mean anything to me, and when I look at this, I just see this very lost in space kind of Spider-Man outfit, very sort of old school sci-fi stuff, and I can kind of appreciate that to a certain extent, but I don't think it fits in this game or in this world. And to be honest, if we just had suits that fit this game and world, it'd be quite a boring suit list, let's be real. But, like, even so, like, we don't go to space in this game or anything like that, so I can't see why I would ever swing around New York City dressed like this. So that's why it's at the bottom. I don't care for this suit. I have no prior attachment to this suit. It is going to be a very subjective list, just buckle in for that. I don't know any other way of doing this. But yeah, Life Story suit, number 34. In at number 33, we have the Kumo suit. Kumo being, I believe, the Japanese word for spider, but I might be wrong. This is one of a few Japanese-inspired Spider-Man costumes in this game. And to tell you the truth, I would just like it if we could get the actual Japanese Spider-Man costume in this game. The one with the big chunky web shooter. Imagine if his L3, R3 sort of power-up thing was just summoning Leopardon. Man, that'd be awesome. But no, instead we have this, and I just don't even know what I'm looking at here. It feels like they've tried to kind of fold in a lot of Japanese culture into the Spider-Man design. Well, not really kind of thinking what Spider-Man would look like if he were just conceived in Japan. And the chances are he'd probably just look like regular Spider-Man. Because it's not like American Spider-Man is absolutely emblazoned in the American flag, is it? But either way, I guess it makes sense because that original Japanese Spider-Man costume is just a classic Spider-Man costume, and we've got those in this game, so we've got something that leans a bit more into old-school Japanese culture, I guess. I'm no expert on this, but again, it looks just a bit over-designed to me. Like, it's messy. I don't really know what I'm looking at when I look at this. There's just a lot of ideas just stacked upon each other. It's the mask that gets me more than anything else. Just what is even going on here? We got this headdress thing going on. We got a bit of kabuki stuff going on down there, but you can barely see any of it because it's so smothered in other details. Yeah, nah, this one's doing nothing for me. In at number 32 is the Saving Lives suit. And to be fair, I don't think this is a bad suit by any stretch, but it's not one I'd necessarily wear. And again, it's one where I think it is cute that we are getting suits that are inspired by the antagonists of this game. And I'd absolutely encourage more of that, but I just don't really care much for the overall look of this one. Again, very subjective, I understand that. If you're someone who loves the purple and gold color combination and has always wanted to see a Spider-Man costume with that, this is that suit. Like, you are getting all of that. And it works. And it's not overly over-designed, which is a problem with a lot of alternate Insomniac Spider-Man suits. This was a tasteful way of kind of taking elements of Wraith's design and translating them over to a Spider-Man suit. I think if I were to describe this in one word, I would say it's tasteful. It works just fine. Will I wear it? No. No, I don't think I will. Nothing objective about it, just that is how it is. In at number 31 is Iron Spider. And this is the MCU version of the Iron Spider, so not the classic comic book one. It's one of those things where I don't hate this suit, never did. I've always kind of liked it a little bit more than the classic sort of Iron Spider design overall. But I'm also kind of wondering why it is here in this particular game anyways. Because they didn't retain all of the suits from the previous game for this one. And I think this suit was very flavor of the month, I guess. I mean, it was a very long month. Like, the MCU really liked keeping hold of this suit. But it's one of those things now where Infinity War and Endgame is behind us. That era of MCU Spider-Man is now kind of behind us as well. You know, we've got other MCU Spider-Man suits now, especially that new classic one, which signifies, you know, a bold new start for Spider-Man. I can't see anyone jumping for joy over this suit's inclusion. And again, I don't hate the Iron Spider. Never have. It's one of those things where it's more egregious in the films than it is in a game. Because in the films, like, things need to look a bit tangible, and I just don't see how this metal would be flexing around him like it's a rubber suit, so it kind of takes you out of it. But, like, in this case, it's more just kind of, in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to the suits that they brought back from the first game, I don't think anyone was begging for this suit to return. There are some film suits where it's like, we did it the first time around, and I think we can afford to kind of put that aside and put in some more comic book suits, or maybe suits from the animated shows or something like that, which we don't have any of this time. I don't see why MCU Spider-Man needs that many different suits in this game when we could just have other suits, you know? MCU Spider-Man has his rep. In at number 30 is the Stealth suit, and overall, the same overall sentiments apply here. It was very flavor of the month, it was very specific, it's one of those things where I can see why it was in the first game, but here it's like, why do we need this when we could be representing another version of Spider-Man in some capacity? I would rather see suits for, like, the Nicholas Hammond Spider-Man, or Takuya Yamashiro, and I know the suits are so similar, but, like, again, like, why do we need this much rep for MCU Spider-Man? I understand that MCU Spider-Man has an extensive wardrobe of costumes, and I love MCU Spider-Man. I am not an MCU Spider-Man hater, but I don't think we need all of them now, you know? We've had that in the first game. Let's be a bit more sparing with this one and put some other suits in there instead. And as it is, the Stealth suit, really, like, it's not one that, like, I've ever really cared for. It was one that was in Spider-Man Far From Home, more for the sake of toy sales than anything else. Like, let's be real. And even then, it's not that exciting of a design. It's a stealthy outfit with Spider-Man eyes on it. Okay, alright, we got it. And we can live without it. We could just as easily have gone without this suit in the movie it was in, let alone in 2 Spider-Man games. In at number 29 is the Secret Wars Civil War suit, and we got another instance of this is from a comic that I haven't read. So I think if this comic means anything to you, then maybe this suit will mean a bit more to you, but when I look at this, I'm thinking of it strictly within the context of the game. I cannot see Spider-Man running around in militant pants, you know? I kind of don't hate the undersuit. I mean, it is very, you know, we've replaced the web lines with tech lines, and, yeah. It's kind of, everything people probably feared an MCU Spider-Man would look like back in, like, 2013 or something. But, as it stands, there's nothing I hate about this suit, and I do like the fact that it's got its own little devoted Spider-Man wing pack on the back. Which leads me to wonder why they didn't do that for things like MCU Spider-Man. Why can't they have, like, the web wings that they had in the movies, as opposed to the web wings that are par the course for the game? But as it stands, this suit does nothing for me. That's all I gotta say about it. I always think there's something a little bit sacrilege as well about a Spider-Man costume that reveals any part of skin or hair or something like that, you know? And you can see his arms are exposed here, and it's like, okay, like, so we know there's a white dude under that suit, you know? One of the things I love about the Spider-Man suit is it doesn't matter who you are. When you wear it, you're Spider-Man. And, well, this dude's got his arms exposed, so there you go, you know? Yeah, cool. Not every Spider-Man suit has to be the same, and not every Spider-Man suit has to adhere to the same philosophy, so I'm kind of talking out of my ass a bit here, but it's more reason why I wouldn't wear this one. In at number 28 is the Anti-Ox suit, which serves as just, I guess, a cute piece of trivia for the previous Marvel Spider-Man games. But, I mean, I was wearing that suit out of obligation the first time, you know? I would much rather have fought Doc Ock in the classic suit or the advanced suit, because that's the suit that is just his in that game, effectively. Like, I've never been big on the whole put him in a different suit for the finale thing, because it kind of, I don't know. There's something about the build-up, you know, them wearing that signature look while in the final battle. You know, kind of does it. And here we've got something that is like a very clear departure from the original Spider-Man design, and you're probably going to be hearing that a lot because I'm a classic suit simp, sue me. This is my own little list. If you really disagree with it, if you love this suit, you can put it at the top of your own list, you know? Like, all the more reason for you to do a fun, creative, and possibly lucrative thing. But, like, yeah, I got no enthusiasm towards this suit. The best thing I could say about it in the first game was, ooh, the eyes kind of look like the Raimi Spider-Man, and then we got the Raimi suit, which made this completely redundant. So, I've never worn this once in this playthrough. I don't really care for this one. This is one I could just easily leave just unlocked, if it weren't for the Platinum Trophy. In at number 27 is the Advanced suit. Now, this probably comes way lower down than you probably expect. I was never a huge fan of the Advanced suit in the first Marvel Spider-Man game. There were a lot of issues I had with it. I didn't like that it was... I mean, I've been saying this since the start. A lot of people have turned against it now, but, like, I've been saying since the start, I didn't like how cut up the red sections were, and they felt cut up without reason, you know? It didn't feel like it served the flow of the suit. It would all just look better if the red wasn't cut up. I wasn't fond of the piping going around the blue sections. I wasn't fond of how overly kind of textured I felt it was, with all the piping being incredibly raised and the spider being incredibly raised. Worst of all, it's orange. I hate the orange and very muted blue color scheme, and it looks better in the lighting engine of this game, I will give it that, but I didn't really like it in the first game, and I don't really care for it here either. It's made worse by the fact that we have the Advanced Suit Mark II, which just improves upon every single aspect of this. It is better in every conceivable way, in my opinion. And you'll see when you see how, you know, I guess high up that one is. For now, it's not just that I don't really care for this suit, it's just that it's also kind of redundant as well, you know? But I mean, I guess there's going to be people that prefer this, so I'm glad that that's available to those people. In at number 26 is the Last Hunt suit. Now, this is pretty much identical to Miles's equivalent to this suit, so it is kind of cool that you can actually have Peter and Miles wearing the exact same suit in this game. It has to be this one, but it's virtually the exact same. And of course, if you do want to change it up, you've got the different color combinations, but again, I said it before, I like the fact that we have villain or antagonist-inspired suits for this game. I think that was a really fun, inspired idea, and that extends to this. It's not exactly the kind of suit I would wear in a game, in a playthrough, or anything like that. You know, I don't see why Spider-Man would be like, oh, I'm gonna be Kraven today. But, again, it's just a fun little thing that you can do on your zany New Game Plus playthrough when they finally dropped that. No idea why that wasn't in the base game, but hey. Seriously, if they just dropped New Game Plus right now, I'd be on it. I don't know if this is the reason, but I know that a lot of video games have a tendency to not drop things like New Game Plus on release for the sake of player retention, but the one thing keeping me from picking up Spider-Man 2 again to play it is the fact that there's no New Game Plus right now, and I've already platinumed it. So, if that is the case, this isn't doing player retention any good in my case. In at number 25 is the Iron Spider armor. Now, I did say on the MCU Iron Spider slot that I prefer the MCU Iron Spider suit design to the classic design, and that is partly because it is closer to being a sort of a classic Spider-Man design. However, this one comes up a little higher just because I think the moment has passed for MCU Iron Spider, you know? Whereas this is comic Iron Spider. I just think it's less redundant in this case. Movie Iron Spider suit is, in my controversial opinion, the better design, but we've moved on now. We've moved on past that. We're over it, you know? Comic Iron Spider, like any other comic suit, is welcome, I think. It's just one of those things where it's like, if you had to pick one of the Iron Spider suits, go for this one, you know? Comic Spidey has a much more vast wardrobe of costumes, and it just feels better to include those over movie suits when you've already included those movie suits before, and there are less overall suit slots this time. And as it stands, I think this is a really nice adaptation of that classic Iron Spider look as well. I think Insomniac did a really nice job bringing this one to life. It does look a bit more tangible than the MCU's one, because like they've obviously Insomniacified it, made it look tangible, made it look realistic. It's got extra tech lines that weren't there in the original comic, you know, and I think they've done a tasteful job. I think this is one example of where you can fit little tech lines onto a Spider-Man suit without it looking silly and over-designed. So I think Insomniac, they did a great job with this, and I think it works well, and it's a welcome addition, in my opinion. Not one I'll ever play with, because I don't really care about Iron Spider, but I can see why others might, you know? In at number 24 is the black and gold suit, and, like, for one, I've said, movie Spider-Man, well, MCU Spider-Man does feel a bit overrepresented in this game, as it is, with suits that are just trivial for him here. What adds insult to injury is that this is the max level reward. Who in their right mind was playing Marvel Spider-Man 2 thinking, oh man, I really hope that max level reward is the Inside Out suit from Spider-Man No Way Home. You know, the suit that was on screen for like, what, 4 minutes? It's not even a suit. It's just the main suit flipped inside out, you know? And I think they've done a really nice job bringing it to life. I'm not going to complain about that. Insomniac have done a nice job with this, but really? The fact you're including this is a stretch, but like, max level reward? Really? The thing I've always found funny about this suit is with all those wires exposed and all those cables and all that piping, it'd be really uncomfortable to wear that suit. You know, and then, like, if you're wearing it inside out, the second you hit the ground with any kind of part of your body that isn't your foot, that suit's buggered. That's the end of that, you know? MCU. Sheesh. In at number 23 is Spider-Punk, and I think this is one example where they could have put a bit more of a movie suit inclusion in here. Rather than have like 10 different, you know, MCU Spider-Man suits, you could have had the Spider-Punk from Across the Spider-Verse, because that is current, you know? That's a current thing at the very least, and people love it. I love Spider-Verse Spider-Punk. I think that's genuinely an improvement upon the classic design. But okay, we've got classic Spider-Punk here. Yeah, different rules for different films, it seems. But, you know, being current is a factor in these things. But, yeah, we've got classic Spider-Punk. And he's exactly the same as he was in the first game. I'm not going to wear the Spider-Punk costume on Peter Parker. I'm not. I don't want to. And then it's like, yeah, it's as well executed as it was before. I just have very little to say about this one other than, why no movie Spider-Punk? You know, at least there's like an option. You know, I'm not saying get rid of this one, because I've been saying, you know, get as many comic suits as you can. Don't go absolutely overboard representing one specific movie version of Spider-Man. But the movie Spider-Punk would have been a really great pick here. Instead, we got this, and it's fine. If you like Spider-Punk, it's fine. This will do, you know? They've done a nice job. If comic book Spider-Punk is what you want, then this is it. They've done a nice job. That's all I got. That's all I got. In at number 22 is the upgraded classic suit. Now, what a weird little rename for this. So, this is actually the Stark suit from the MCU. It's just been renamed to the upgraded classic here. And, okay. I mean, it makes sense. It does just look like the classic suit with a few additional little black straps on it. And I've always liked this suit. Like, it's the homecoming suit as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, I love this one. I was thinking, if you're gonna pick from any of MCU Spidey's back catalog, I do think this one's a must, because it is the first one he wore in the MCU. It's the first time we saw Spider-Man in the MCU. This was his signature costume for a good few years up until Spider-Man Far From Home. So yeah, I think this one is actually a fair pick, even though it is very similar to the other classic suits in this game. It's a bit of movie Spidey history, you know? I think this is the suit that a lot of people are still going to associate with MCU Spider-Man, even if it isn't my favorite suit he's ever worn. This, to a lot of people, is definitive MCU Spider-Man, and I can absolutely see why. The only thing I will say is in this game, there are certain angles where the lens is kind of clipped through the mask a little bit, leading to them looking really crunchy and messy, so I'm hoping they'll fix that. But otherwise, yeah, it's a really great suit. It's been adapted wonderfully into these games. They did it right the first time, they've got it right the second time, just a couple of things need cleaning up. But yeah, I'm always going to have a soft spot for the Homecoming suit. Hell yeah. Then in at number 21 is, I think, less essential, but I do prefer this design. It's the upgraded suit. And again, this is a bit of MCU Spidey rep. And I have always kind of preferred this suit to the Homecoming one. I feel like, it was MCU Spidey getting more of an identity of his own. And I think it has the merit of looking a bit less like the classic suit in this case, making it a bit more justified in terms of a slot. I don't think it has the same historic weight as the upgraded classic suit, or I'm still calling it Stark suit. But for me personally, when I think MCU Spidey-Man, Spidey, I'm gonna leave that in. For me, when I think that, I think of this suit. This is the suit I think of. I think the most iconic one is still always gonna be the Homecoming one, but for me, this is MCU Spider-Man. But you know what would make it higher on this list? If it was the No Way Home version. Now, it's basically the exact same suit, but, like, the belt is different. The belt is the classic Spidey belt instead of that MCU one with the black blocks in it. In universe, in continuity, it is the same. It was just a retcon. But I wish we could have had that one, because that one is gorgeous. Like, this suit is gorgeous as is, but that one is heat. That one is beautiful. And it got way more screen time, and it is in the more current live-action Spidey film. It's, when I look back at the Far From Home version, it's a footnote now, Like, the No Way Home version is the proper one. Wish we could have had that instead. I guess I can see why they wouldn't spend the time just changing a belt, but, like, man. That's all I got. In at number 20 is the Into the Spider-Verse Spider-Man Noir suit, which is the only piece of Spider-Verse representation for Peter Parker. Like, Miles had quite a few suits, but Peter just gets Spider-Man Noir. And not only that, it comes at the expense of the classic Spider-Man Noir suit as well. That is not included this time. I'm thinking, like, if you were gonna include one Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse suit for Peter Parker, why this one? We had the Into the Spider-Verse Peter Parker suit in the first game, and admittedly, it wasn't very accurate to the final thing. I know some people are saying, oh, it's the Peter Parker of Miles's dimension, but even then, it wasn't very accurate. The colors weren't very accurate, the web patterns weren't very accurate, but it was in a decent way of kind of representing that version of Spider-Man, I guess. In this case, alright, it's something different. I can appreciate that. I'll be honest, I would have rather had a Peter B. Parker suit. Maybe even with the, the pink gown. That would have been fun. Or just, have him have his little punch, his little pop belly, that would have been fun too. Or Hobie Brown from Across the Spider-Verse. Like, that would have been a better pick. You could have had the movie version of Miguel or something. I don't know. This? Alright, I'm not against it, but really? This one's your pick? He wasn't even in Across the Spider-Verse. Spoilers. Just a weird pick, I guess. But I'm not against it. I'd love to have a Spider-Ham in this. That would be quite fun. In at number 19 is the Spider-Man 2099 suit. And this time, this is the only form of rep that Spider-Man 2099 gets in this game, where he had a couple of suits in the first one. Okay, for Peter. For Peter, this is the only piece of Spider-Man 2099 rep. Miles gets a couple of 2099 suits. Okay, so I actually really appreciate that you've got the option of changing this suit to black and red, which were the canonical colors of Spider-Man 2099. The blue was more of an artistic choice. And I could tell that Godzilla Mendoza is gonna absolutely love this. Personally, myself, I think blue and red looks a little better, but I am glad that, they are at least catering to those that want something that makes, canonical sense. And even then, like, in the first game, they referred to it as the red and black 2099 suit, yet it was blue and red. Weird. The model itself is pretty much exactly the same as it was in the first game, and it's good to have this in there. I'm glad that this is the Spider-Man 2099 representation they're going for. But again, the question is, why no movie version? You know, it's very current, you know? That it strikes me as, if you're gonna do that, do it now, you know? That's the time to do it, right? Right? But, like, you got Spider-Man Noir instead. Okay, fine. I'm not even mad about that. This is what I'm talking about, though, is like, we got how many suits for MCU Spider-Man in this, yet only one piece of Spider-Verse representation? Oy vey. In at number 18 is the Arachnite suit. So this was another early pre-order unlock that I have never ever worn, but I mean, I like this one a bit better than Miles' one. It looks a little less edgelordy, and it looks, you know, it's an assassin Spider-Man suit, and I don't need Spider-Man to look like an assassin. Like, why would I want that, you know? But I do like the color scheme here with the red and white. I actually think that is really tastefully implemented, and I think the hood is nicely done too. Yeah, that... Wow, you know, that's all I got. I haven't got a lot for this one. If you're into Assassin's Creed and Spider-Man and you've always wanted the two to cross over, then here you go, you know? That's your lot. Enjoy. Me, on the other hand, yeah, nah, I don't care. It's a tasteful design, let's not get it twisted, you know? In at number 17, we have the Scarlet Spider suit, as worn by Ben Reilly. This is probably his most iconic suit he's ever worn, and I am obviously pleased to get some Ben Reilly representation in here. I'm a little confused as to why there's no sensational Spider-Man suit in this game. Not that I would wear it. I don't care for that suit. Never have. Hot take, I don't care for that suit. It's like the Spider-Man suit turned into a vest. But, like, I know people want it. You know, I know there's demand for it. I know there's way more demand for that than there is for the Night Monkey suit from Spider-Man Far From Home, or the level 60 unlock for the black and gold suit from Spider-Man No Way Home. There's demand for it. It represents a Spider-Man that, to be fair, he is represented. You know, we have got two Scarlet Spider looks in this game. And again, I think they've done a really nice job at bringing this suit to life. Like, I think Insomniac haven't overdone it, you know, like they can tend to. There are still things I'm not fond of. I hate that little camel toe thing. I had to put an extra space between the camel and toe so you don't think it's talking about his Spider-See. No, I'm talking about on his feet. He's got these little camel toes. Hate them. Hate them. Hate those. Get rid. Why are they there? Other than that, it's exactly as it appeared in the first game, and it is neat. They've done a nice job. Moving on, in at number 16 is the hybrid suit from Spider-Man No Way Home, and this is by no means a suit that I prefer to the Homecoming or the upgraded suit or anything like that, but I think it has more of a place here because it's a bit more current, you know? I think if you're gonna represent MCU Spider-Man, this is one of the suits to go for. This is something that I think renders MCU Iron Spider completely redundant. As far as the design goes, it's alright, you know, I never really hated the hybrid suit, or the integrated suit is what I've always called it. But yeah, I don't hate this design. It's not my ideal Spidey either. I think it is a little over-designed, especially around the legs. Like, oh god, how many more lines can you fit on this costume? But again, it's the last suit he wore in that era of MCU Spider-Man. It was the final suit of the Spider-Man Home trilogy, so I think it has a place here. I think it is one of the more historically relevant MCU Spider-Man suits. It's the suit we saw Spidey wear when standing side by side with the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield versions of Spider-Man. And god, did he look the worst of all three of them. It is what it is. It is what it is. But I think this is a worthy suit, and yeah, cool. In at number 15 is the Scarlet Spider Mark II. Now, when I think of this suit, I think of when it debuted and it had that weird little mouth. And to be fair, that mouth is what you would probably see underneath the mask if Spider-Man wasn't wearing a face shell, which he doesn't canonically wear. So I wonder what made them decide, hey, this time you can see his mouth through the mask. But you can't see that here, fortunately, and I don't know whether or not I would applaud them for having the balls to do that, or whether or not I'm just happy they didn't do that. As it is, I've never worn this suit in-game before, but I must say it is nicely translated. It's a nice new bit of Scarlet Spider rep, and yeah, It's alright, isn't it? Like, this is pretty alright. I guess if, you know, given us choice between this and the sensational suit, I think a lot of people would probably go for the sensational suit over this. So I'm a little, you know, a little perplexed by that, but hey, maybe they're saving it for DLC, which in of itself is a bit of a problem. Still, this looks good. They've adapted this suit in a tasteful way. They've done a nice job, and I really like the shades of red and blue they've gone for. So there you go. What more needs to be said? In at number 14 is the homemade suit, and yeah, this is one where I could easily free up a slot for MCU Spider-Man, because the homemade suit is still really cool. Like, that is the first in-universe suit that the MCU Spider-Man would have ever worn, to our knowledge anyway. And I know it's not by any means current, but again, the historical context, not to mention that we don't really have many homemade suits for Peter in this game. Like, we've nixed the ultimate version that they had in the previous game. That's not there. So it is kind of just nice to have a homemade Spider-Man suit in this game, and I'm glad this is the one they went for. If they had to, though, if they had to get a homemade costume in here, I would rather have had the human spider from Spider-Man 2002. At the same time, you might probably run into the same issue that we had with Miles' Halloween suit, in that, like, they'd have to cover up the eyes somehow, because the way they're animated to express is obviously coded to lenses, not actual human features. As it stands, okay, they went for a good pick here. This is one that you can easily justify. I think in terms of adaptation, how they've, you know, made this suit look in the game, it does look weird on someone with the proportions of PS5 Spider-Man. It's always looked a little strange on that. It just looks a bit better on Tom Holland's a little smaller proportions that he had in Spider-Man Homecoming. But still, grateful that we have a homemade suit. It looks great next to Miles' homemade suit as well. So yeah, I'm happy to have this. Like, this is one where I can definitely say MCU Spidey rep, completely justified. In at number 13 is the Amazing Suit. Yeah, this is the Amazing Spider-Man 1 costume. So in all of its basketball-y glory. And it's a suit that I've definitely warmed up to over the years, and I was really happy to see it being represented in the updates for Spider-Man PS4. And I'm happy it's back as well. Like, we've got, you know, multiple suits to represent the Tom Holland Spider-Man. We've got multiple suits to represent Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. So it stands to reason that we get at least 2 suits for the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. And for a lot of people, this is still probably his most iconic suit, because it is the one that is the most unique to Andrew Garfield. This is one that is unquestionably Andrew Garfield's suit. His second suit, very much a classic Spidey look. It even draws a little bit of inspiration from the Raimi suit, whereas this one is just pure, like, as it was always intended, Amazing Spider-Man. And I understand that Amazing Spider-Man 1 means a lot to a lot of people, so to have this suit in there, it does feel like a must to me. And it did feel, at least in that first game, a bit more important to have this suit there than the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit. However, we will discuss that a little later. As it stands, it hasn't really seen any changes since that first game, which is okay, because they did a good job of this suit. It's not perfectly one-to-one, but they did a good job. Yeah, I'm happy it's here. I'm happy it's being represented still. I'm happy it hasn't been forgotten. And let's keep it that way, you know? Amazing Spider-Man 1 is a great movie, so let's keep it in our heads. In at number 12 is the black suit. So this being the canon black suit to Marvel Spider-Man 2. This being the first black suit that he wears in this game. And I want to quell a few little misconceptions quickly. I don't hate or dislike this suit. I can see the vision that's going on here, okay? I can see what they're going for. My big critique of this is that when you look at the black suit Spider-Man, what makes it work so well is how simple it is, how clean it is, you know? Like, it's a simple black getup, white spider, white eyes, and it looks good. It stood the test of time for that reason. So going into this, where they've added a whole ton of lines to it, armor kind of lines, and then they've also made loads of different textures, some of it being this very organic look, other parts looking very armored. You've even got the head looking kind of like a helmet. It starts to lose some of that appeal, as far as I'm concerned, you know? It was a really simple task, and I don't mind whether or not it looks Eldritch Abomination-y or whether it looks like a fabric. You know, I don't mind any which way. They were clearly going for the more alive route for this game, and I think, you know, it fits the bill, and I'm perfectly happy for them to do that. That's the joy of adaptation, is seeing these different approaches. But, yeah, no, I think this one is... It is over-designed, in my opinion. It reminds me a lot of when people, like, put an MCU suit side by side with a traditional superhero suit and complain about the MCU suit having loads of lines all over it. This is more egregious than the typical MCU suit, as far as I'm concerned. There are definitely things I can appreciate. They've tried to make it look almost kind of like a... As my buddy Wayne, his boss, said, it looks kind of like a spider exoskeleton, and I can see that. It makes him look more spider-y, in that, you know, you've got this kind of armored look over the shoulders and over the arms, and it's very segmented like a spider's exoskeleton. And then, like a spider, between that, you've got this organic muscle component as well. It makes sense. And then even, like, I've complained about how helmety the mask looks. I do think those lines on the side were a step too far, but they've clearly tried to make those look like mandibles. That makes some sense. I can see the vision, you know? I don't love it. You know, this is definitely not my favorite of the black suit designs, but I get it. And from a distance, it looks really good. It just looks like the classic black suit from a distance. It's alright, you know? I don't hate it. I don't love it either. It's just very, very Insomniac as far as these Spider-Man suits go. They do have a tendency to over-design, and I think this suit is very much a victim of that. In at number 11 is the new blue suit. I don't know what this is from, but I've talked about over-design quite a bit on this list, and I've talked about over-design a lot in the previous entry as well. So to have a suit that is just clean, the shapes of Spidey's suit, but minus any webs or any additional lines or anything like that. Yeah, that feels kind of good, you know? They put the spider logo in a little circle, which is neat. That's a neat little idea. And when you flick it to the classic color scheme, it does look really clean. Like, it's just Spider-Man to his most simplest form, I guess. And I can appreciate that. I don't know what this is from, but I think it is actually kind of alright. You know, I don't mind this. Yeah, and, you know, if you just wear the blue version, you can kind of be like a Fantastic Four Spider-Man as a bit of an alternative to the bombastic Bagman, who sadly isn't in this game. In at number 10 is the Cum Spider. Sorry, I meant the anti-Venom suit. And, yeah, I mean, like, design-wise, they've kept it simple, which I do really appreciate. Like, good job. And I really like those eyes as well. But, I mean, it is hard to ignore the fact that it is a suit made of predominantly white goo, isn't it? And its plot purpose as well is a bit of a cop-out. But, I mean, I love nothing more than to hit those right and left thumbsticks and then go into this mode and then just be doing takedown after takedown. It's awesome. Like, I enjoyed playing in this suit, even if I thought from a narrative standpoint it was underwhelming. And from a design standpoint, it was just okay, you know? Yeah. They've kept it simple. That's the main thing here, is that it's not like the black suit. It's just nice, simple, and clean. About as clean as you can look when you're covered in white liquid. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of getting more gross the more I think about it, actually. I'm starting to think I want to put this lower down on the... Jesus. Gee, a white symbiote. What were they thinking? He gets his suit at the same time that Miles gets his now confirmed Adidas suit. So, I mean, he's still looking the better of those two, right? Miles Morales' original my ass. In at number 9 is the classic black suit. And now we're talking. That's it. That's all we needed. That's all we needed. It still looks a bit like an eldritch horror, but it's just the classic black suit. No ifs, ands, or buts. No additional lines. No crazy textures going on. It does look organic, and it works. It's the simplicity that makes this design tick. And yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about it. It just looks good. I especially like to play in this one with the color mod of having the red and blue highlights on it, the way it reacts to kind of light, you know, that's how I like to do it. You can also play in a purple version of it if you really loved, you know, Spider-Man Web of Shadows or Ultimate Spider-Man. You got your options, you know, to change it up, but as it stands, yeah, this is just classic black suit Spider-Man, and it looks good. Requires way too high of a level to unlock, but it looks really, really good. Good job. Thank you for including this, Insomniac. In at number 8 is the Advanced Suit 2.0, and what a glow-up this suit is. Yeah, I know it's only in position number 8, but I really like all of the designs on this list going forward. Like, this is where we're really getting good. Basically, it takes the Advanced Suit design and, as far as I'm concerned, fixes it. It's flatter, it's less busy, there's way less cuts going through the red sections, and the colors are so much better now. It's actually red. And the blue is a nice bright blue this time as well. It just looks so much better in every single way. The spider's a little flatter. It looks very sporty. What an upgrade, man. They've got rid of those red triangles going down the legs as well. Looks way more balanced in that department. I wish it had some form of bootsies, though. I think his little feetsies look a little bare still. If he had some little bootsies, that would improve it. But I think the way the belt's been handled here looks really nice, too. Yeah, this is the one. This is how it should have looked in the first place, as far as I'm concerned. I can actually roll with this. I really like this design. You know, if they'd said, you don't get any other suits to play through this game with, I wouldn't have... I mean, it would be disappointing, but I wouldn't have been as cheesed off as I would have been had that been the case in the first game, you know? Yeah, this is such an improvement across the board. Nice job, Insomniac. In at number 7 is the superior Spider-Man suit, and this is one I asked for in, like, my, I think, top 10 most wanted suits for Marvel Spider-Man 2. God, how old is that video now? That must be ancient. Ancient video. Ancient pup, you know? I asked for this suit, and I got this suit, you know, so I'm happy. And they did a great job with it, too. Like, it's got little things like a utility belt now, and it's got a few little extra line work going on, just to make it look a bit more tangible, you know? And I think it's tastefully done, but the superior Spider-Man suit's really hard to mess up. And they didn't mess it up! It's got the messy webs, it's got the right layout, it's got the big gauntlets on the arms. Great. Just great stuff. I'm happy to see this here, those big black eyes, and I love the color combinations we can get as well. You can get a predominantly black version with red accents, or you can get black and blue, funny enough, and that looks really cool too. This is just a cool design. It's hard to mess it up, and they didn't mess it up, and I'm happy to see it here. Thank you, Insomniac. In at number 6 is the webbed suit. So this is just very much the Raimi Spider-Man suit, and this suit has come under fire lately, and I don't get why. There are elements of it that I think need a little improvement. I don't like how the web clips through his lens a little bit. It's hard to notice, but once you've noticed it, it's there. You only really notice it when it's close up as well. But, okay, so it's not 100% photorealistic. And yes, the mods have absolutely spoiled us in terms of photorealistic one-to-one adaptations of this suit. But you gotta keep in mind that modders do not have the rest of the production pipeline to account for. There's no one person hired to make the Raimi suit, and they probably have very tight deadlines. As it is, this suit has seen some improvements from the first game. For one, the colors are a lot more accurate now. The red is less orangey and less overly bright. It's now more that rich sort of wine red, which is correct. The blue's a bit more muted now as well, and it's a bit darker. So they have improved this suit quite a bit. Are there still improvements that could be made? Yes, the lenses are not quite the right shape. But as it is, guys, like, come on. I don't know why this suit, but people are saying, what were they thinking? They should have just not bothered. It's like, what are you talking about? You absolute crazies. You crazy town, this fan base. We begged for this suit in the first place. We got the suit. They did a great job. And I know that people are saying, oh, but look at it next to, like, the MCU suits and the amazing suits. And it's like, yeah, here's the thing. This is a way more complex design. Way more. They have to model every little web on this guy. And I think they did a great job. It's an improvement over how it looked in the first game. A few little issues aside, this is a great representation of Raimi Spider-Man, and I love this. I am fine with hearing criticisms, but I am just not hearing people saying, oh, it looks ass. You're wrong. In at number 5 is the black webbed suit. So yeah, we got a Raimi black suit alternative in this game, and yeah, it looks great too. Obviously, I don't necessarily play in this suit as often as I do the red one, and I do prefer red Spider-Man suits to black ones. The reason it comes higher in this list is because it is new. It's a new suit for this game. Yay. That's not the kind of analysis you came here for, is it? No, but I am very, very grateful for its addition in this game. Like, of all the black suits here, like, this one means the most to me, you know, on a personal level. I love Spider-Man 3. I love Spider-Man 3's depiction of the black suit, and I'm glad that they've honored it here. I like the fact that it's a different texture to the red one. You know, it's much shinier because, I mean, it's an organic thing, but like those little brick patterns underneath the suit are now shiny, and they've translated that really well to this one. They've got the correct spider logos. Nothing makes me more unjustifiably angry than seeing black suits with the red suit spider on the chest. It's just wrong. Doesn't hit right. The only thing they're really kind of missing here is that the lenses should probably actually be a little bigger. They were definitely bigger on the black suit in the Raimi film, but as it stands, it's a trivial detail. They've nailed it. I love this suit. So, yeah, super happy to see it here. Super happy to see this suit getting represented. In at number 4 is the symbiote suit. Now we are talking. This is an Insomniac original take on the black suit. This is the evolution of the black suit that Peter wears as he's becoming a bit more far gone, you know? And this suit represents that. And hell yeah. I mean, okay, a lot of my problems with the black suit and its over-design, having way too many different textures going on, way too many lines all over it, it's all fixed here. Yes, this suit is more veiny, more eldritch horror, more monstrous looking, but I don't find it to be as over-designed. You know, it still retains that simple, it's a black suit with a white spider and white eyes on it. Just looks a bit more Halloween-y this time. I love how we're seeing also the gradual evolution into being more Venom-y in this case as well, like with the spider being closer to Venom's chest spider, in this game anyways, and the lenses being close to Venom lenses, but with that kind of angry sort of rainy shape as well, which I really, really, really like. Yeah, this suit's fucking terrifying. And when I saw that black suit evolve into this, I was just like, that is more like it. That is much, much, much more like it. My only wish is that it had the little white pads on the back of the hand, but we can't all have what we want at all times. This game has already fed us well enough. Which means that Symbiote Spider-Man takes the crown of best symbiote suit in the game. Good job. Hey, yeah, woo. Now, before we go to the top 3, we're just going to put things on a brief pause to go to a quick wellness break with Coach Brett. Take it away, my boy.
Yo, Coach Brett here, interrupting the video for a little bit of movement. All right, guys, so we're gonna do a little thing called the couch stretch. So if you've got tight hips, maybe some hip tension, maybe you're going up the stairs and it doesn't feel that great, you're gonna wanna do this. So what you wanna do first is bring your foot around so that the top of your foot rests on whatever chair or couch that you have behind you. You're gonna wrap your leg around so that your knee is up. You want to tilt your butt in like you're driving it through your legs. And then typically, this is where you'd want to stay. If you want a little bit more tension, you just drive your body forward a little bit more. Hope this helps.
Hey there, Coach Brett here with True Capacity, your path to a healthier you. And at True Capacity, we've got programs tailored specifically for you. It's a bodyweight program that all you need is just your body weight, a little determination. We've got a minimal equipment program where you don't really need anything, just the essentials. And then we also have a full gym access program where really the only thing you need is a gym membership and you're good to go. So let's embark on this journey together and click the link down below for more details. Thanks, guys. Excited to see you in there.
In at number 3 is the new red and blue. Yeah, you saw this coming. You saw this coming, okay? If they were gonna rep the MCU Spider-Man in this game, this suit is the one. This is the one everybody wanted, the one everyone was hoping for. Because it is just a classic suit, you know? I mean, we have lots of classic suits in this game. So that does kind of make it a little redundant, right? But no, it still has its own distinct look. You know, it's got that unique spider logo on the chest. It's got that very interestingly shiny, vibrant blue. And I've seen some people saying it looks a bit too green, but to them I say, I think, do you have your TV in reading mode? Because when I look at it on my laptop, which I always have in reading mode, yeah, it does look a little greeny. It's the one that reduces the blue lights and stuff like that. But when I look at it on my TV where I don't have reading mode on, it looks great. It looks really blue. So I just want to throw that out there. The color shades could very easily have gone wrong on this, but no, they absolutely nailed it, and it looks gorgeous. It really makes me excited for the future of MCU Spider-Man, knowing that he's going to be wearing this for the first 5 minutes of the film before changing to another suit, because that's what they did with Sam Wilson. It's a business. They gotta sell toys at the end of the day. This is perfect. This is just perfect. In at number 2 is the Amazing 2 suit. Now, truth be told, it's like apples to oranges, really, comparing this to the new red and blue suit. But to be fair, why can't you compare fruit? But the other thing is, I actually love both of these suits just for like how they have different approaches to kind of adapting a very quintessentially classic Spider-Man design. But the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit comes just a little higher on this ranking than it would on the films one, just because I've been waiting to see this one represented in these games. And it makes me so happy to finally see it here. Like, right now as it stands, it means more to me. It's more nostalgic, you know how it is, okay? It makes a lot of sense. So no, I'm not going to say it's better than the other one in any way, it's just, to me, this one sits a little closer to my heart for now. We'll see how things go in the upcoming years when we've got new Spider-Man movies. Yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man 1 is the more distinctive costume for the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, the one he has the most ownership over, I guess. But this is the one he wore when stood side by side with Tom Holland and Tobey Maguire. This is also the one that got the most sparing screen time in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, so I did want it in the first game just for the sake that I could look at it for a little longer than I did in the movies. Fortunately, we did get way more time with it in Spider-Man No Way Home, but still, I wanted it in the games. I got it in the games. It's finally here. And what's interesting is how many evolutions this version of this suit has gone through from patch to patch. Pre-release, the suit was a much lighter shade of red with bright silver webs, and then as it came out, it was a bit darker in the web department, a bit more accurate. The red was a bit darker as well. And then we had another patch which added that distinct Amazing Spider-Man 2 shiny fabric to it. And now I have to say, it is pretty much perfect. Does it compare to the photorealistic mods that we've gotten for Spider-Man Remastered on the PC? No. No, it doesn't. But as far as official representation of this suit goes, I think they nailed it. It looks really, really nice. And I'm so happy to finally see this here. It is about time. But then, in at number 1, as the best suit in this game for Peter Parker, it's gonna be the most vanilla choice ever. You're all gonna make fun of me, but I'm gonna say with complete conviction, the classic suit. But the reason for this is probably a little bit more intricate than you might be giving it initial credit for. Look, for one, you can't beat the classic Spider-Man design. You can't. It's just perfect. But alright, if we're just talking red and blue suits, I'd actually probably put the new red and blue suit or the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit above this. Probably put the web suit above it too. But no, we're not talking strictly about the default color scheme for this one. What I'm talking about is the red and very, very, very dark navy blue version of this suit. Yes, color really does make that much of a difference. See, one of my most requested suits for Spider-Man 2 was a Ditko suit. Something photorealistic but still evokes Ditko vibes. This red and almost black suit paired with the web wings is a Ditko dream come true, and in the game it just looks absolutely magnifique. That is how I've always dreamt that a modernized Spider-Man suit would look right there. It is beautiful. Immaculate. Absolutely perfecto. Like, some people might be wondering, like, what side of the fence do I sit on when it comes to, like, what color Spider-Man suits should be? Whether it should be red and black or red and blue. You want my answer? Red and very, 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 very dark, almost black navy blue. And a nice rich red, too, to boot. This is it. This is my ideal Spider-Man suit, and boy, am I happy to see it here. The default version is really nice, too, but it's this color combination which elevates this to the #1 spot. What can I say? I'm a Ditko shill. So what do you guys think? What would your ranking of all of the Peter suits in this game be? Comment below, discuss, maybe even make your own video about it, that'd be cool. Now, before anyone asks, where are the Digital Deluxe suits? I didn't buy the Digital Deluxe. I bought the game physical, because this kind of game is one that I need it physical, you know? I need it physical. Story of my life. Now, you can buy the Digital Deluxe suits as an add-on for an extra $10, but I don't care about any of them. Like, I can see why you might want those if you're feeling, you know, super artistic and you want your Spidey to be very much be your own Spidey, but they don't appeal to me, you know? I'm very much a Spider-Man fan in the conventional sense. Keep it pretty classic as far as I'm concerned. So that's why I didn't rank them, because I don't have them. You know, I don't have the right to rank them. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video and you want to support more like it, be sure to hit subscribe, hit the like button, and in the description below is the link to my Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can get your name in the credits of these videos, and I would just really appreciate it. As well as getting behind-the-scenes access on an upcoming Spider-Man project I'm working on. A special shout-out goes to the patrons in the $10 tier. Now, forgive me, my voice is feeling just a little tiny bit horsey today, so I'm not gonna bellow out the patron read like I usually do. Instead, I'm going to do a silly voice for you. So in the $10 tier, we have Glad Goku, There Denny, Cale Bennett, That Jordo, King K of Warheads, Super Hyper Mecha SP Mark II. Can you believe it, guys? Spider-Man 2 still just a week away. When am I going to get my 19 inches of Venom? God, I really feel for you, Adzinko. Still no 19 inches of Venom. What's wrong with you? Update your username. And then in the $5 tier, we've got Kalex, Richard Rogers, SSS06, Joachim Sergini, Dazzle Fizzle, and Vera Wild. Thank you so much to you good folks for your generosity, and to all of you at home, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. The video is over. You may leave.